welcome back to this third part of this story of my first IVF attempt with my own eggs. After I had the embryo in me, I stayed in the Airbnb for a few more days because I didn't really want to do a big long drive home and I just had an embryo put in me. And so I had this really beautiful, surreal few days before I went back home in this Airbnb, and I just didn't really go anywhere. I just very much rested. I wanted the embryo to have every possible chance of sticking. And I'm not a songwriter. I love to sing, but I don't know how to write songs. I can't really play any instruments. But I had this ukulele, baritone ukulele that I could play about 5 chords on. And while I had brought it with me, so I was playing my 5 chords, and I made up a little song for the embryo, and I was playing this song every day and singing this beautiful song for the embryo every day. Just feeling so much love for it. And I really thought it might work, you know, because the whole thing had been so miraculous. The timing had been so miraculous. You know, it's the last elective surgery. I got in under the border just before the border closed. I was just about to turn 47. They'd got eggs. They managed to get a good embryo. So it was all feeling very magical. So it was a really pretty amazing week that I spent in that Airbnb. And I drove home with a lot of hope. You know, I was in the 2-week wait. So we're in the 2-week wait. It's notorious for being an incredibly stressful time. I'm someone who is a pretty calm person, and I don't tend to waste energy on worrying because I just don't see the point of worrying. So I didn't. I just chilled out. But we were in that early lockdown, the first lockdown, so you couldn't go anywhere or really do anything. So I just went for little walks. I think I started writing a novel. I did some work with my colleague, shot some videos with him. I just decided to distract myself. That was my strategy. I'm just distract myself. I'm not going to think about it. As I got closer to the time when you can start to do home pregnancy tests, I had a couple of home pregnancy tests. I put it off as long as possible because I was actually enjoying this feeling of being PUPO, pregnant until proven otherwise. I really liked being PUPO because I knew that after PUPO, life was never going to be the same. Either I was pregnant, in which case I was on an absolute roller coaster, and especially as an almost 47-year-old, it was going to be a precarious pregnancy because anything could go wrong. You don't know if the embryo is going to be chromosomally normal, even if it sticks. So, you know, it could have been miscarriages, could have been Down syndrome. So I knew it was very risky. So I knew that once I found out, yes, I was pregnant, it was going to be scary. And I knew that if I found out it didn't work, I was going to be devastated. So either way, my calm was going to be gone. So I was enjoying being PUPO for as long as I could possibly be PUPO before I found out the truth. Mommy was PUPO. Mommy was PUPO. Mommy was PUPO. So that was just this little beautiful bubble before the next craziness hit. So then as the days were going on, I started to have what felt like period cramps. And I remember thinking, this is not good. So I was up all night reading cramps during the 2-week wait. What does it mean? Of course, some people say it means you're getting a period. Some people say it's implantation cramps. It means it's working. I didn't know which it was. Ooh, do you want this back? I didn't know which it was, so I just hoped. And then eventually I just gave in and I did a pregnancy test at home and it was negative. And I thought, well, that doesn't mean anything, could be wrong, you know, it's still very early days. I'm gonna wait till I get the beta, but I was starting to feel a bit sad, but I wasn't gonna let myself really get sad until I had the definitive blood test. Okay, I put baby Star down to tell you this bit because she wants to play. When I got the official blood test back saying that it hadn't worked, that's really when it hit me. That's really when I let myself feel it, that this hadn't worked. And that was my one attempt to try with my own eggs at almost 47. I knew it had been a long shot. It was only like 0.01% chance it was ever going to work. I would have been the first woman in Australia to have gotten pregnant at IVF with her own eggs at that age. So I knew it was a long shot, but gee, it hit me really hard. It hit me really hard because, you know, I'd been in this romantic fantasy about it and I really believed it was working. They got all these eggs, they've got a healthy embryo and the rainbow and the sliding under the state borders just when the border was closing, the whole thing. And I really thought it was going to work. And I was absolutely devastated. I mean, I didn't get out of bed for days. I just cried all day. I cried all day. I cried all day. I knew it was my one attempt with my own genetics. So it was really, really sad, I'm not gonna lie. It was devastating. And I know those of you who've done IVF, how devastating it is when it doesn't work. And especially if you get to the end of the line and you realize you can't try again with your own eggs, that there's no possibility, it's devastating. I mean, now looking back, I'm so grateful because I'm gonna pick her up, she's playing in front of me, because if I'd used my own eggs, I wouldn't have this angel face who I love so much, my favorite person in the whole world. world. So in the end, I was blessed that it didn't work because I got to do it again a year later with donor eggs and create this beautiful baby star who I love so much, so much, so much. But at the time, I didn't know that. I didn't know it was going to work. You know, we were in the middle of COVID. There was no, the only other option was to go overseas to get a donor egg at that point, and you couldn't fly. The Australian government wasn't letting anyone fly, and it turned out we couldn't fly for a whole year. I was like, I have to put this on the shelf now until we can fly again. I don't know when that's going to be. So it was a really devastating blow. Like, it was the end for me. I put her back down because she really wants to roll around and play. She's at the age where she just wants to crawl. She drags herself all over the floor. I'll make a funny video showing it. It's so cute. So yeah, it was absolutely devastating, and it took me quite a long time to process it. I couldn't do the next attempt for another whole year because we couldn't fly. But at the time, I didn't know I was ever going to be able to do another attempt. So it was really hard. So guys, yes, it did have a bad ending. But as you all know, I did end up getting a baby in the end through using donor eggs, and I'll make other videos about that. Some positive things did come out of it for me, and I just want to share those with you because some of you may go through this. You may have a journey where you try with your own eggs and it doesn't work, and then you end up having to use donor eggs, or maybe you just get to the end of the line and you don't do it anymore. Obviously, I've already shared that I had a big breakthrough around my chronic pain, which has nothing to do with IVF, but it's something I discovered as a result of going through a general anesthetic. I'd never had a general anesthetic before. So that's something that's very specific to me. But there were some other things that came out of this experience that were very positive that may be helpful for other people to think about. In the next part, I'm going to tell you what the positive things were that came out of that IVF experience. Even though it failed, some very powerful positive things came out of it, and I'm going to share those with you in the next video. Say goodbye, everyone. Say thanks for watching. Oh my love, it's you that I dreamed of. Oh my